So, in order for systems to change, we know, as you've spoken, it's about paradigm shifts, it's about talking to each other. So, it's about conversations we have with our loved ones, about with ourselves. So, I just wanted to ask you to tell those watching the video, what's one thing that we can do to start shifting the way we think about mental health before, during, and after pregnancy?
Um, yeah, that is a difficult one actually, but at the same time a really important one. We all of us need to shift our understanding, our attitudes around mental well-being, and it's a very paradoxical situation, isn't it? What we value most about ourselves as individuals and the people we care about is their mental functioning, is our mental functioning. So if I were to say to a parent, how is your child getting on at almost any age, their response would be, oh, well, they're really happy at the moment or not. They've got lots of friends. They're doing well at school. They're really interested in their activities. It wouldn't be, oh, their liver function is really good and their bone density is fantastic. It's about their mental well-being, even if you're asking, how is your child? Innately, what we value most is our mental functioning. And you and I wouldn't be here if it weren't for our mental functioning. We wouldn't be on this call. I wouldn't be able to answer the very to the point questions that you're putting to me. So this is what we are. And when we think of ourselves as human beings, it's not my liver function that differentiates you from me. What makes us the individuals we are is our human functioning. So it's absolutely top of our list of what is most important to us as humans. But when it comes to looking after that, to looking after our own well-being, when it comes to investing in the healthcare of the well-being of our populations, be we politicians or voters, mental health, as opposed to physical health, is far down the list. And this is a really strange paradox, isn't it? And yet, I mean, there's lots of talk about mental health is important, but the reality is it's always the area that's least well funded, least well provided for, and most ignored and least well understood. So I think we need to start to realize how much we love and value our mental well-being and the mental well-being of others. We don't break friendships with people because they get cancer. We break friendships with people because they get miserable and they're not very nice to be with. So we need to nurture that in each other, and we need to consciously remind ourselves how much this is important and how much we value it. So I think that's a starting point, and it sounds a bit nebulous, but I think we need some reminders of this, and then we need to learn more and understand more and talk more about it. And I think societies, until really recently, were very bad at this. Observing children's sophistication in this area now, certainly in countries where I have regular contact. I'm a European. I'm French, Norwegian, and English. So I see children developing, at least in those countries and in a number of others. I have great hopes for the future. I think the younger generation now have a much greater understanding, and that's partly because of education. So it's, adults can pat themselves on the back a bit. We've passed some of this shift on, but children are much more aware of mental well-being, mental health, and I think that's a good thing. Some of my colleagues sometimes say, "Oh, there's a great fashion for this disorder or that disorder. Everybody wants to have it, and it's ridiculous." But actually, I think it's great that we're having these conversations more, and I think wider conversations in society about equality, about acceptance of individual differences, understanding of disadvantages that people have in life, neurodiversity, gender identity, all of these things come into the whole concept of mental health. So I have huge hopes for the future. At the same time, I think we continue to disinvest and to underspend on direct care of people who are struggling, going through difficulties. And it's a high proportion of the population who have mental health problems that, if they're caught, particularly if they're caught early with good quality professional help, can totally transform people's lives in the same way as you see in physical health. And there's an acceptance, even in low and middle income countries, that healthcare does have a role to play in society and is valuable. And that applies to mental health as well. It's not just being well supported that's going to get you through difficult episodes of being unwell mentally in your life. You also can benefit enormously and rapidly from expert evidence-based help, and we need to invest in that. So there needs to be a shift in awareness, a shift in understanding, a shift in appreciation, and a shift in investment. And we all have a role to play in that. We need to be shouting and demanding.